Now that we have our list of perfect squares, our big task is going to be to simplify these square roots. Now, our first one is kind of big, but let's go for it. We know that we should know that the square root of 49, or what this is saying is what times itself will give us 4,900. So I know that 49, square root of 49, is 7. But I have these two zeros. Now if you recall from up above that 10 squared is 100, which means the square root of 100 is 10. And if you notice, on 100 I have two zeros, and on 10 I have one zero. It's because when you have two zeros on the end, you can take one of them for your answer, which means that the square root of 4,900 is 70. Now the beauty of a square root is if you're not sure if you did it correctly, you take your answer, you square it again, and you should get back to it. So if we take 70 times 70, I'm going to go the good old long multiplication route. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 7 is 0. Place marker. 0 times 7 is 0. 7 times 7 is 49. If I add these up, I get 4,900. So I know that I did it correctly. When we square root a fraction, it's going to be the same thing. We're saying what fraction, when multiplied by itself, gives us the number 64 over 9. So the cool part about fractions is that when you have the square root, the square root of a fraction is the same thing as square rooting the top and dividing it by the square root of the bottom. So looking at the square root of 64, that is 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. And the square root of 9 is 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. Therefore, the square root of 64 over 9 is 8 over 3. And just like we said when we were squaring decimals, that we pretend that the decimal point's not there, it's kind of the same thing. We're saying, well, what number multiplied by itself will give you the square root, will give you 121. So that would be 11. Now, we have two decimal places in 1.21. I need half of that for my answer, which means I need one decimal place, which means my answer is going to be 1.1. Our last one is a word problem. We're saying we've got this checkerboard. So I'm drawing my beautiful checkerboard. And I'm telling you that its area is equal to 144 square inches. And I want the length of one side. Now remember, the area of a square is going to be side squared. The cool thing about square roots is that they undo squaring, which means that if I take the square root of my area, I will get the length of one side. Well, being that my area is 144 square inches, I'm going to take the square root of it. And I know that 12 times 12 is 144. So the square root of 144 is 12, and I want the length of the side, and length is measured in this case in inches. So now I want you to try these 4 you-try problems. Bring them with you to class tomorrow. And then you can go ahead and bring any questions with you as well. And don't forget to fill out your form.